pre-recorded episode because I had to go to Chennai, which is not far from Bangalore, but it's like 100 degrees hotter than Bangalore. So I'm in Chennai in like under 40 degrees Celsius. Somebody translate it to Fahrenheit for me later. Heat, while you guys are not. So enjoy yourselves. But every time somebody terrible dies, you see people like all these people who have no business commenting on this. Like, why are so Charlie, everyone knows Charlie Kirk was shot and killed. He was shot in the neck while he was talking about gang violence and guns. And what did he say about gun deaths 2 years ago? Let's just remind us.
He was talking about that there has to be acceptable deaths, basically. Like he's saying, we're a gun owning country, so
okay. So here's the video.
So we need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, by having more armed guards in front of schools. We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. Wow. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe.
He said it was worth it. So I guess he believes his. So if he thinks his death is worth it, I'm not going to disagree with him. No. Right?
No. I think he also did not like empathy. He thought empathy was a modern thing, a modern term, and that it was actually destroying the world. Empathy.
Kangaroos and anything that's not a reptile feels empathy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're not, we shouldn't feel empathy for him. So in the fact that all these people came out, you could just not say anything, but it was like this whole trying like a civil war. So the Democrats felt like they had to come out and be, poor.
We denounce all this violence.
Yeah. Yeah. But also remember that Newsom had as his, I don't know if it was his first guest. I think it was his first guest was Charlie Kirk on his podcast this year.
Why does Newsom have a podcast?
I don't know. I don't even know if it still runs, but his first, out of the first 4 episodes, he had all right-wing people.
Yeah. And Charlie Kirk says a lot of terrible things. Like Toilet Paper USA, funded by the Koch brothers, no real opinions. Apparently, there's some conspiracy theories about alleged Israel, alleged Palantir. I have no evidence to them, so I'm not going to comment. Maybe not. I don't know.
There's a lot of conspiracy stuff floating out there, but I
just don't think he's that important to have been assassinated by anyone but a disgruntled person.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe you're proven wrong 20 years later when the CIA declassifies all their records.
Yeah. I mean, there would be, I don't know. There is kind of a weird connection that you could think of because of Newsom pushing him. So he came more he was a name for more people at that point and stuff like that. But I mean, it's looking who they think did it comes from a conservative background. I think they.
Oh my God!
The
New York Times. If we keep David French, if we keep this up, Charlie Kirk will not be the last to die. Correct?
Yeah.
Because people die, and yeah, he will not be their last to die. Like, I think I remember once when he didn't understand the difference between an embryo and a fetus.
Yeah.
But that doesn't
Oh, was he the one that everyone was sending like the elephant embryo?
yeah.
And he thought it was it him? I can't
I'm
remember.
not sure.
But yeah, I mean, his ideology was extremely white supremacist. It was, you do not have to, you can say nothing if you have nothing.
Yeah, you could always say nothing, but and I don't even know if he was like actually believed anything like he said, because he was paid by, just go to their website and look at all the funders.
Yeah, he said he'd have his daughter go full term if she was raped. Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, he stated that. He made that statement.
So we all agree, and he thinks his own death is worth it. Who am I to disagree?
All right. So I'm gonna read a couple of tweets from just a couple of people here. I wanted to read to you Governor Gavin Newsom's tweet, and as you remember, he had him on his show, as I brought up before. So
why does he have him on his? Why does he even have a show?
I don't know why he has the show, but he like it. We actually did an episode on Boys Club about it, and we went through it, and there was no pushback. Gavin agreed with so many points that Charlie was making, especially on trans and sports and stuff like that. And he would just be like, "Oh, that's interesting." Instead of giving him pushback, he'd be like, "Oh, that's interesting," like that sense of thing. So there's that, this is your opposition party to the Republicans, is supposedly the Democrats, right? So this is what Gavin Newsom posted after. We should all feel a deep sense of grief and outrage at the terrible violence that took place in Utah today. Charlie Kirk's murder is sick and reprehensible, and our thoughts are with his family, children, and loved ones. I knew Charlie, and I admired his passion and commitment to debate. His senseless murder is a reminder of how important it is for all of us across the political spectrum to foster genuine discourse on issues that deeply affect us all without resorting to political violence. The best way to honor Charlie's memory is to continue his work, engage with other people across ideology through spirited discourse. In a democracy, ideas are tested through words and good faith debate, never through violence. Honest disagreement makes us stronger. Violence only drives us further apart and corrodes the values at the heart of this nation.
Well, if he really believed that, he would have disbanded the LAPD,
Mm-hmm.
of course. But what kind of what kind of work does Charlie Kirk further? 24 years ago, a group of Muslims killed 2,753 people on 9/11. Now a Muslim socialist is on pace to run New York City.
Yeah. I mean, his speech,
yeah.
Charlie spoke in violence. He spoke white supremacy. He spoke violence towards people. If everyone understood that Alex Jones was a stochastic terrorist, you know what I mean? Do they not think that this brought any violence? And plus the fight that Charlie Kirk was having with the other faction, the Nick Fuentes, where, probably there's a good chance that this is where the, who the shooter, the alleged shooter, kind of came from, was more the conservative, but the ones that were upset with the Charlie Kirk faction, it had something to do with the Israel thing too, because there's the MAGAs that don't want to support Israel, and then there's the ones that do. So there was that going on too. So
Yeah. I mean, he's had, oh, okay. And then, of course, he debates college students with his prove me wrong little table. I
mhm.
mean,
Yeah,
why doesn't he debate people his own age?
yeah, yeah. So that crowd looked like there was a lot of older people in that crowd too. Like, so like the crowd there supporting, not the ones up asking the questions and stuff. But if you looked around the crowd, there was quite a few, older people there too. So
No, I'm not talking about Utah, but generally he had
yeah,
this like
just genuinely,
prove
yeah,
me wrong tables at college campuses. Like, dude, debate somebody your own age. Like,
yeah.
where you're like, yeah, if I can go to my niece's elementary school and win every debate, but come on.
Do you know the young influencers, like the TikTok ones, Dean, and they had like this unf, I'm not going to say the word, unf America tour, where they were following around Kirk. And the day that Kirk died, Dean was crying on a live on TikTok.
Okay, okay. And then he would say, oh, fact, one of his tweets. It would take 40 years worth of blacks killed by cops to equal the number of blacks killed by other blacks in 1 year.
Mm.
Less than 400 people a year are killed by cops. That is actually false because there's a database that tracks it. And every year so far, there have been over 1,000 people. Like,
Yes.
there's no year since they've been tracking this database have there been anything less than 1,000
Yeah.
in the US.
At least
61% are white and 32% are black. I'm not sure about that, but yes, a lot of white people are also killed by cops, and you should be, if you're white, you should be extremely mad at that because they're going to kill you too.
Yeah, but we also, white people make up over 50% of the population.
But like I said, when white people are killed by cops, it's Black Lives Matter. That takes up their cause. I remember this little boy that was shot, white boy,
Yeah.
Jeremy something, and it was like none of these white supremacists were like talking about it. It was Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
And then 90% of murdered blacks die at the hands of other blacks. But majority of the people who die are killed by their spouses and their relatives.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not, like, there's no reason to point this out other than being a racist person who wants to say that black people are inherently more violent or whatever.
Well, I mean, and then white on white crime is
it's the same thing. Like 90% of a large number of white people are killed by other white people. And if you look at this, like a large number of people are killed by their husbands and wives.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a completely pointless thing.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just I don't like, I mean, the whole thing with like Gavin, like, oh, we have to continue his work and have no.
What work does he do? He's in a Koch brothers funded think tank.
Yeah.
Performing for dumb college students.
Pushing white supremacy. Pushing.
Yeah. Like, there is no work that he does.
Hate rhetoric. Like that.
I mean, Gavin Newsom did like end up like throwing away homeless people's last stuff. Yeah. Like, so he wants to continue.
Yeah, that's violence. That's political violence. So you pick up the homeless, like all their stuff, and throw it away on them.
Everything they own. Like, I mean, I like in a better world, we would totally. In a better world, we would be able to go to Gavin Newsom's house and throw away every single thing he owns and like make his turn his bank account into zero.
Yeah. So you had that. So the other tweet I want to read right now is from our friend Cenk Uygur. I talked to some right-wing friends today, and
why does he have right-wing friends?
Because he is right-wing. I don't know. He came from being.
No, I know, but do you have right-wing friends?
No. Not at all.
No, I don't either. If somebody's a right wing, not a friend.
They're not my friends. No. I know right wing people, but they're not my friends, and I don't really
exactly
talk to them.
I know. I know people who used to be right wing And then I converted them, and then they became my friends. But
yes,
I don't have any right-wing friends.
I talked to some right-wing friends today and realized one of the biggest problems, they're only seeing the crazies that are saying disgusting things about Charlie Kirk's death. And that's understandably driving rage. Others have said,
what did these right-wing friends say about the deaths of millions of Iraqis and Palestinians? And
what did Charlie Kirk say about like people in Gaza? What did Charlie Kirk say about trans people dying? Like, come on. Like,
yeah. Well, let's see what Charlie Kirk said about Gaza. The deaths of women and children in Gaza are the fault of Hamas, not Israel. Just like the deaths in Japan during World War II were the fault of Japan, not America.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
When a government engages in unprovoked murderous aggression, they are to blame for everything that results. No, I disagree on both points. Dropping the deaths of people in Japan that America killed is not America's fault.
Yeah.
And okay, let's see what else. Let's see. Israel's the only country in the world except America that gets blamed when they get attacked by terrorists. 650 rockets rained down in Israel, 4 Israelis dead. In 2005, Israel gave up Gaza for peace. 10,000 Jews are forced out of their homes. We must stand with Israel.
Yeah.
Like, none of that is true. Yeah. I don't know about the 650 rockets, but Israel did not give up Gaza. It basically blockaded it, turned it into like a mini concentration camp.
Mm-hmm.
Or a big concentration camp, some kind of concentration camp.
Yeah. So Jane goes on, others have said nice things, but that doesn't make news. And I feel like he's upset because his nice tweet from the day that it happened didn't get pushed out.
Yeah, because no one cares about what he says.
So we don't have to agree with what Charlie said. We don't have to change our minds on anything. But in a situation like this, where a young man with a family dies tragically, basic decency requires our side to say and to mean, we're so sorry for your loss. That's just civil bullshit.
Why does basic decency require that when he himself doesn't feel sorry for his loss? He thinks his death was worth it.
Yeah. I mean, he stated that, that's what he felt like in a country that had gun owners. We have to, there's just acceptable loss. Like, that's what he believed. So
he thinks it's worth it.
He was acceptable loss. I don't know. I'm going with that.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with him.
Like the whole thing with like, I don't buy into adventurism.
I mean, you shouldn't do revolutionary adventurism because that's really not how you change the system. The only way is I mean, there's only one way.
I mean, so I'm saying like the adventurism doesn't help, but Yeah,
I mean, but. Like, yes, it will probably cause stricter crackdowns and whatnot or whatever. So, I mean, I never support like lone wolf shooters because they have absolutely no point in society. But I'm not going to pretend that in life Charlie was a better person.
Yeah. When it happened, we were on a live on TikTok. And so we didn't know, like they weren't saying he passed away yet or anything like that. So, but as we were waiting to see if we could hear if he did or not, we had a contest of draw Charlie Kirk. And we just like drew Charlie Kirk pictures. I didn't win, but I can't, it was only 2 of us.
Yeah. Well, I saw the video and I saw the blood splurting out, and I'm like, "There's no way he's surviving this."
The second, like once I saw it, like in the larger view, because I was just seeing it like on the smaller view on the phone, And then like once I saw it on the computer, I'm like, yeah, he did it. And to have Trump announce, like, they had Trump announce his death. That is who announced his death. Trump announced it.
Whoa, the Koch brothers are powerful indeed.
Yep. And so like they held back so Trump could announce it. And I mean, the whole thing is just so weird. And like Trump saying like he was like such a good friend and all this. And JD Vance was there, you know, putting his hand on the coffin as, you know, like everyone's like, oh, JD Vance is carrying the coffin. I'm like, no, JD Vance is putting weight on the coffin for the Marines that are carrying the coffin.
Yeah.
So whatever. But yeah, so that was, you know, just like
the grave going on somewhere here.
I can't hear it. Your mic is really good because it doesn't pick up.
You can't hear that?
No. I'm telling you, you're the noise cancellation on your mic is really good.
Okay.
Because I've heard your street noise. I've heard it because you've showed it to me on your phone and I've heard it and it's really, really loud, but we don't hear it on
okay.
here, so it's funny. But yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, but like so many of the Democrats, like even like Chuck Schumer and all them, even Bernie came out like, oh, we shouldn't like be celebrating or something like that. And I'm like, whatever.
I don't care.
The guy was a jerk to so many people. If they want to celebrate, let them celebrate.
Yeah, I don't care enough to celebrate, but if you want to go, like, I don't care enough.
Yeah.
But what I do care about is it's called the Margaret Thatcher death etiquette, where they pretend that the person was a better person in life, and you should not do that. You should to explain what kind of person he was in life, because now is the time when all these like obituaries come and like try to lionize a person. I need to remind everyone what he actually was.
Yeah, I mean, he was not a good person. He was a debater. Like that was his job.
Who goes to college campuses and say, "Prove me wrong"?
Like, and now he's giving like a Medal of Freedom or something. He's giving like all these awards. Like he was a freaking debater.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. He had no work, like nothing useful.
No. And they were all, so the right side was all calling for violence against the Democrats and all this because the Democrats caused this, obviously, like whatever.
But what the funniest thing is Meghan McCain, who's blocked me, because when she said, my father will not surrender to anything, including cancer, I quote tweeted her and said, except for the Viet Cong. So she still blocked me.
So what did she have to say?
She said, in the first tweet, she said, death penalty to the shooter. No, she said death penalty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were all calling
the Democrats are all celebrating violence. And I'm like, you just said death penalty.
Yeah, they just said like Utah still has like a firing squad like on the books. Like you can get executed by firing squad.
It's probably better than the gas chambers and the lethal injections, to be honest.
Yeah, I would think so. But yeah. No, I mean, it's amazing how like they like, and this is the whole thing. All the people that cry for being civil, including the Democrats, are some of the most violent people. Some of the people that have hurt so many friggin' people.
Yeah, and anytime a politician in the U.S. says violence doesn't solve anything, the first question is, are you disbanding the military then?
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as the military's around, they know that violence solves.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not defense, it's war. That's what we're all about.
I'm so glad Trump did that. That's one of the, I praise him for that.
Yeah, that was a good.
He's honest.
It was a good move because it's the truth. It's telling the truth.
But now, I was just related to Lenin. Well, in 1907, they had the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
There was a man named Count Heyden, and he was a man. But why don't you read the Guardian article about this man?
This is from the Guardian on Saturday, June 29th, 1907. This is under the memorial notices, Count Heyden. So, a runner's telegram from Moscow announces the death of Count Heyden, a member of the First Duma and the founder of the Party of Peaceful Regeneration. Count Heyden was one of the group of liberal politicians who carried through the series of Zemsko congresses which preceded the First Duma. He was not, however, so advanced as the constitutional Democrats and disassociated himself from them in the Duma, although he declared his approval for the compulsory expropriation of land and his disapproval of the dissolution of the Duma in July of last year. He did not sign the Viborg manifesto, and he served himself still more decisively from the advanced liberals by founding the Peaceful Regeneration Party. Okay, the Peaceful Regeneration Party was the party of landlords and the bourgeoisie.
Okay, so basically the Viborg manifesto was signed by a lot of by mostly the cadets and the Trudovniks, and they called for passive resistance. And basically everyone was like, what the F?
Yeah.
And then most people were like, what the F are you calling for? And then the Tsarist authorities, or even though they called for the most meaningless crap, the Tsarist authorities still cracked down on them, and everyone who signed the Viborg manifesto was banned from the next Duma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Go on.
nope, that was it. That's how they were saying in it.
Okay.
So they basically, just point out that so he's going into the, as a liberal, he's doing that. He's not liking what the Mensheviks, even, of course, the Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks, but he's not liking what they're saying. So he ends up forming this party.
Well, not even that. He thinks the cadets are too liberal.
Yeah.
And so he's the centrist party, that the centrist people, Tulsi Gabbard used to be part of that think tank.
Yeah. So very, very much
okay.
Right.
So basically, so this is a quote from King V.A. Obolensky. He says, okay, so this is what King Obolensky said. I'm getting my Russian R's in English Pete's confused. Please give me 1 second. The Opochesky district was under his control by the string, and he was there in the full sense of the word, masters. All matters were decided as the Count wanted. To be fair to him, he achieved not only through his indisputable authority, but also through his exemplary consciousness in his duties, the liberal conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And also the founders of the Union of October 17th, where the Count, actually, what did he do in the Union of October? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He wrote some strong letters. Octobrists in the Pskov region held gatherings in honor of the manifesto and the need. And then Count Heyden wrote something about the unity of interest between the large landlords and the peasants in the context of internal discord in the country and external external threats. And then their stupid party had a manifesto which said, not a republic, but a constitutional monarchy.
Mhm.
As in the extreme left seeks to establish republic through the armed uprising, and they're talking about the cadets.
So they wanted to. So basically, Hayden, of course, he's a count, so he wants to keep the monarchy. So he's
no. He wants a constitutional monarchy, not a republic. That's too.
He wants to reform the monarchy.
Yeah, just a constitution. Yeah. So this is what Hayden said. I stood for increasing peasant land ownership.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he clearly understood one should not go too far.
Mm. Yeah.
So he wants peasants to have a little bit more land, but he still wants to have the whole estate for himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
We landowner, and Gaydon was convinced that we landowners need to make better choices. And yes, peasants need a little bit more land.
Just a little bit. Probably to work for them, though, still.
Yeah, but they need their little bit. Yeah, I totally support land reforms. So, of course, the peasants need a little bit more land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, actually, this guy is actually a little left to Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, actually, he is.
He wanted to give little crumbs. Charlie Kirk probably didn't want to give anything to anyone. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. He is a little, but you see what kind, yeah, he is actually a little left of Charlie Kirk.
He wants to keep the monarchy, constitutional monarchy.
He wants a constitutional monarchy.
But,
not a republic.
Didn't they kind of have a constitutional monarchy at that point, though?
There was the Bulligan Constitution.
Yeah.
Which was written by Bulligan, and it was basically like a BS constitution, and the Tsar could dissolve the Duma anytime he wanted to. And the Duma basically, it was almost like a Rubila vote. The nobles got it's like the nobles got 60 votes, 60 seats, and the peasants got 3 seats, even though they are the majority of the population, which is not that different than the American.
Yeah. It pretty much follows what we got.
I think the Tsarist Duma was probably a little bit represented the peasants a little bit more.
No, I don't. Yeah. No, because even if we get someone that is, pretty much poor in Congress, they seem to get rich pretty fast. I don't know.
No, but at least the Trudovniks actually they with their 2 or 3 seats did they actually did represent the peasants. They did talk about land reform and all the good things.
Yeah.
But he died on. Wait, what day did he die?
Well, it was June of 1907 because the article I read was June 9th.
Okay, he died on June. No, he died in May of 1907.
Oh, okay.
Because of the
different
Georgian. No, he died. Okay, according to your calendar, our calendar, not present day calendar, he died in June of 1907. According to the Russian calendar at that time, he died in May of 1907.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And Tavarish is a newspaper that's legal.
Mm-hmm.
Legal means Tsar's stamp of approval. And, well, Lenin doesn't like what they wrote about Count Heyden. Well, now that you know about Count Heyden, Lenin doesn't like what he thinks of him. So let me read this. The progressive press was unanimous in expressing its profound condolences over the heavy loss sustained by Russia in the death of Count P.A. Hayden. The fine personality of Pyotr Alexandrovich attracted all decent people, irrespective of party or trend. A rare and happy lot. There follows a lengthy quotation from the right cadet Ruskaya Vedomosti. It means Russian knowledge. Containing a sentimental effusion on life and the activities of that wonderful man by Prince P. Dolgorukov. Dolgorukov means long hands. It's so weird. One of that Dolgorukov longhand breed, whose spokesman bluntly confessed the roots of their democracy. Better come to terms with the peasants peacefully than wait until they seize the lands themselves. And as we know, Count Heyden also believed that you should give peasants a little bit of land.
Can I make a comment about long hands? Because Trump would love to be long hands because he's so short hands.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
And then Dolgorukov also said, "We deeply share the feelings of grief evoked by the death." And by the way, let's remember what year he was born in. 1840.
Yeah, so he's 67 years old.
Yeah. Okay.
And the life expectancy for
32 for peasants.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the death of Count Heyden, who are accustomed to value the man irrespective of party guise in which he may be invested. And the late Heyden was above all a man. Well, I can agree with,
he was a man.
Ludmila Pavlichenko said when they asked her, "Did you kill like 300 men?" She was like, "They were not men, they were fascists." So that's a good question. You should leave it in the comments on Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
On whether
a fascist is a man.
Was a man.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with that.
Yeah.
So writes the newspaper Tavarish, number 296, Tuesday, June 19th, 1907. Oh my God. So all of this was written not by Ruskaya Vedomosti. Okay, let's compare what Ruskaya Vedomosti wrote versus what Tavarish wrote. The progressive press was unanimous in expressing its profound condolence over the heavy loss sustained by Russia, the death of Count Heyden. A fine personality of Pyotr Alexander attracted all decent people, irrespective of party or trend, a rare and happy lot. And then and then there follows a lengthy quotation from the, okay. So basically, the Tavarish magazine actually was the one that was quoting Dolgorukov. And above all, he was a man.
Yeah.
So journalists of Tavarish, not only the most ardent Democrats of our legal press, stamp of approval, but also consider themselves socialists. Critical socialists, of course. They are the nearest thing to the Social Democrats and the Mensheviks. Platonov, Martov, Smirnov, Pereyaslavsky, Dan, etc., are offered the most cordial hospitality in a paper whose columns are adorned with the signatures of Prokopovich and Kuskova and Portugalov. So Portugalov is a baron. Prokopovich is like a right-wing landowner. And Kuskova is an intelligent woman, I guess, urban intelligence, yeah. and other former Marxists. In a word, there is not a slightest doubt that the journalists of Tavares are the most left spokesperson of our enlightened democratic society, to which narrow illegal activities are alien. When you come across the lines like those quoted above, it is difficult to refrain from exclaiming to these gentlemen, how fortunate it is that we, the Bolsheviks, obviously did not belong to Tavares' circle of decent people. Gentlemen, decent people of Russian enlightened democracy, you are drugging the minds of the Russian people and infecting them with the miasma of toadyism and servility 100 times worse than the notorious members of the Black Hundreds, the Purishkevich, Khrushchevan, and Dobrynin, against whom you are waging such a jealous, such a liberal, such a cheap, and for you, such a profitable and safe war. You shrug your shoulders and turn to all the decent people of your society with a scornful smile at the idea of such absurd paradoxes. Yes, we know perfectly well that nothing on earth can shake you out of your vulgar liberal complacency. That is why we rejoice that we have succeeded in all our activities in setting up a solid wall between ourselves and a certain circle of decent people of Russian educated society. Can one give any instances of the Black Hundreds having corrupted and misled any considerable section of the population? One cannot. Let me pause here. So, like, for example, Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, they're not misleading with the population about what they think. They think, yes, you should genocide all Palestinians and whatever else horrible. Yeah. They're saying that. But the Democrats are saying every decent, Jen even used the word decent people. Yeah. And if those are decent people, I don't want to be a decent person. I want to be an indecent person. Let's go back to Lenin. Neither their press, nor their league, neither their meetings, nor their elections to the first and second Dumas could provide any such instances. The outrages and the atrocities of the Black Hundreds in which the police and the soldiery take part enrage the people. The frauds, the dirty tricks, and the bribes of the Black Hundreds arouse hatred and contempt. With the help of government funds, the Black Hundreds organize gangs and bands of drunkards who can act only with the permission and at the instigation of the police. Boom, 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 to peasants. I think one of the American newspapers around that time, like when the Tsar murdered all the proletariats who came to him in Bloody Sunday, said something like machine gun fires at something about machine gun automatically firing at crowd.
I think that Black Hundreds is like a perfect match for the Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, like that whole.
I guess
organized gangs and bands of drunkards. Like you're speaking to the the reactionaries, and that's what they're doing. They're speaking to reactionaries.
But the Black Hundreds was able to successfully arm the reactionaries and have them actually boom, 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 murder peasants.
Yeah, but I wouldn't doubt that could come from them.
No. I don't think Ben Shapiro is capable even of doing that.
I don't know.
But he doesn't need to because he's got the police and the U.S. military.
Yeah.
In all this, there's not a trace of any dangerous ideological influence on any considerable sections of the population. I mean, that's true. Like, everyone thinks it's disgusting to just go and machine murder hundreds of peasants, like entire villages. Like, people think, On the other hand, it is just as unquestionable that such an influence is exerted by our legal, liberal, democratic press. The elections to the first and second Dumas, meetings, associations, and educational affairs all go to prove this. And Tavares' utterance in connection with the death of Heyden clearly shows what kind of ideological influence this is. A heavy loss, a fine personality, happy lot, was above all a man. Count Heyden, the landlord magnanimously played the liberals prior to the October Revolution. So there's the parties of the cadets, and then they became the Octobrists.
Mm-hmm.
And the cadets wanted a constitutional democracy in theory.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Octobrists were like, oh, that's too much constitutionality, too much democracy. Let's just have a constitutional monarchy.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you can't have a monarchy is unrestrained power for the king, who allegedly gets it from God himself, and the Constitution is a restraint on government action. So it's that makes no sense. Basically, you can either have a constitutional government or a monarchy. And for those people who say England is a constitutional monarchy, please try to figure out, where is the British Constitution written? Hint, it's not. It's based on legal case precedents. So it's just a monarchy with the parliament. Okay. And Denmark, Sweden, Norway.
Yeah.
Yeah. After the victory of the people on October 17, 1905, he immediately, without the slightest hesitation, went over to the counter-revolutionary camp, to the Octoberist Party, the party of the landlords and the big capitalists who were incensed with the peasants and democracy. In the First Duma, this noble character defended the government after the dissolution of the First Duma, negotiated, but without reaching an agreement, for a place in the ministry. Such are the principal stages in the career of this typical counter-revolutionary landlord. And along come well-dressed, enlightened, and educated gentlemen mouthing phrases about liberalism, democracy, and socialism, and making speeches of sympathy for the cause of liberty, the cause of the peasants' struggle against the landlords for the land. Gentlemen who possess a virtual monopoly of the legal opposition in the press, in the associations, and at meetings and elections, and are lifting their eyes up to heaven to preach to the people. Rare and happy lot. The late Count was above all a man. So, and just so you remember, what was Count Heyden's opinion on the peasants' land struggle?
You want me to answer?
Yeah, we should give them a little bit of land, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah. Just a little bit, little crumbs.
A little bit, teeny tiny bit of land. Yes, Heyden was not only a man, but he was also a citizen, able to understand the common interests of his class and defend those interests very skillfully. Yet, you gentlemen, the enlightened Democrats, you are just tearful simpletons, concealing under the cloak of your liberal idiocy your inability to be anything but cultured lackeys of this landlord class. There's no need to fear the landlord's influence on the people. They will never succeed in fooling any considerable number of workers or even peasants for any lengthy period. But the influence of the intelligentsia, who take no direct part in exploitation, who have been trained to use general phrases and concepts, who seize on every good idea, and who sometimes from sincere stupidity elevate their inner class position to a principle of non-class parties and non-class politics, the influence of this bourgeoisie intelligentsia on the people is dangerous. Here and here alone do we find a contamination of the masses that is capable of doing real harm, and that calls for the utmost exertion of all the forces of socialism to counteract this poison. Heyden was an educated, cultured, humane, and tolerant man, ecstatically exclaimed the liberal and democratic droolers, imagining that they have raised themselves above all partisanship to the standpoint common to all mankind. Like, this, I mean, literally is what Jenkins Newsom
have done.
Like, nothing's changed.
Yeah. But they didn't, like, that didn't change in life for them either. They also, like,
are lackeys of the yeah.
Yeah, that's
You are mistaken, most worthy sirs. This is not a stand common to all mankind, but a servile standpoint. The slave who is aware of his slavish condition and fights is a revolutionary. The slave who is not aware of his slavish conditions and vegetates in silent, unenlightened, wordless slavery is just a slave. The slave who drools when smugly describing the delights of slavish existence and who goes into ecstasies over his good and kind master is just a groveling bore. And you, gentlemen of Tavares, are such bores. With disgusting complacency, you wax sentimental over the fact that a counter-revolutionary landlord who supported the counter-revolutionary government was an educated and humane man.
I want to stop for 1 second.
Humane man has slaves.
And boar there is boar as in pig, not boar.
Yes. They miss not South African person. They miss spelled it here.
Yeah, they did.
And I can check in Russian too right now. Let's take a he uses pig fat.
Yeah.
The word for the word for pig fat. So
yeah, because they spell it weird on the Marxist.
Yeah. No. He is definitely not against Sata. Maybe he is, but the word he uses is definitely pig fat.
Yeah.
You do not realize that instead of turning the slave into a revolutionary, you are turning slaves into grovelers. All your talk about freedom and democracy is sheer claptrap. Claptrap.
It's just like blah blah blah.
Yeah. Fashionable twaddle or hypocrisy, just painted signboard, and you yourself are whited sepulchres. That's what the czar carried.
Yeah, the queen of, you always saw in England too, they have the sepulcher that they carry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what it is. You are mean-spirited bores, and your education, culture, and enlightenment are only a species of thorough prostitution. And he uses the word prostitution, actually.
Mm-hmm.
For you are selling your souls, and you're selling them not through a need, but for the love of the thing. Heyden was a convinced constitutionalist, you say sentimentally. You are lying, or else you have been completely hoodwinked by the Heydens. Publicly, before the people, to call a man a convinced constitutionalist when that man is to have founded the party which supported the government of Witt, Dubasov, Gromykin, and Stolypin is like calling a cardinal a convinced opponent of the Pope. Yeah, I mean, basically, his party was not. I don't know. They went from they went from democracy to constitutional monarchy. Yeah, and basically that's what he's always done.
Yeah,
okay, actually, he uses they did not actually change anything with the translation. And this is the first time I'm going to explain he uses the word mayo. Somebody uses the word mayo as an insult. So Lenin was way ahead of his time.
Mm-hmm.
Gaydon was a... Wait. Sorry, I'm calling him Gaydon because in Russian they're calling him Gaydon. Instead of giving people the correct idea of the Constitution, you, the Democrats, treat the Constitution in your writings as something in the nature of salmon mayonnaise. For there can be no doubt that for the counter-revolutionary landlord, the Constitution is a sort of salmon mayonnaise, means perfecting the method of plundering and subjugating the mujik and the masses of people. If Heyden was a convinced constitutionalist, then Dubasov and Stolypin were as well convinced constitutionalists. So Stolypin was his interior minister, and Dubasov was was like a general.
Mm-hmm.
Dubosov and Stolypin could not have been what they were and could not have pursued their policy without the support of the Octobrists, Heyden among them. By what tokens then, O ye sage Democrats, from among decent people, are we to judge his political physiognomy of a man, a constitutionalist? By his speeches? By the fact that he beats his breast and shed crocodile tears? Or his actual deeds in the social arena? What is the characteristic and typical of Heyden's political activities? Is that he could not reach an agreement with Stolypin about joining the ministry after the dissolution of the First Duma? Or is it after such an act he proceeded to negotiate it with Stolypin at all? Is it that formerly at one time or another he uttered some kind of liberal phrases? Or is it that he became an Octobrist immediately after October 17th? In calling Heyden a convinced constitutionalist, you teach the people that the former is characteristic and typical. And that means you are senselessly repeating fragments and rudimentary slogans and fragments of democratic slogans without understanding the rudiments of democracy. But in the Russian version, Lenin says the alphabet of democracy. So it's worse than not understanding the rudiments of democracy.
Yeah. The ABCs.
Yeah, the ABCs. Yes, that's exactly what he says.
Yeah.
For democracy, remember this. You decent gentlemen and members of a respectable society means fighting against the very domination over the country by counter-revolutionary landlords, by which Mr. Heyden upheld and which he was the embodiment throughout his political career. Heyden was an educated man, say our drawing room Democrats. Yes, we have admitted this. We will willingly admit that he was better educated and cleverer. Well, he was educated because he was rich. Back then in Tsarist Russia, poor people went to work in factories and became peasants, and they couldn't go to school because they had to eat, right?
Yeah.
So being educated in Tsarist Russia just meant, oh, I'm rich.
They had money. Yeah.
Yeah. And this does not, and clever, which does not always go together with education, than the Democrats for themselves. For he better understood the interests of his own class, his own counter-revolutionary social movements than you, gentlemen of Tavarish. Understand the interest and the movements for the emancipation. The educated counter-revolutionary landlord knew how to defend the interests of his class subtly and artfully. He skillfully covered up the selfish strivings and rapacious attitudes of the semi-feudal landlords with a veil of noble words and outwardly gentlemanliness. He insisted to Stolypin on the projection of these interests, and by the most civilized forms of class domination, Heyden. This is getting hard for me because in Russian, like I said, the H's changed to G's, so Hitler becomes Gitler, and I know I should not have both versions up, but sometimes I have it because sometimes you wonder what it means and you kind of totally understand what it means, like in Russian immediately. Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry that I keep calling him Gaiden.
I wanted to say one thing too, it's funny as you're reading this, you're saying the educated counter-revolutionary landlord, and all I can think of is like the ACP party wanting to be the party of landlords. So is that what do they strive to be Count Heyden then, I guess?
Even the worse, Has said something about the Black Hundreds. I forgot what he said. Something about Lenin trying to convince the Black Hundreds. I'm like, no, Lenin never said that.
Yeah. No, that's what, they were trying to use that as that Lenin went in, and I'm not even sure if this was Haas or Eddie that said that though.
No,
but
this was definitely Haas.
It was Haas, okay, about with the Black Hundreds, like that they were trying to say that they worked with them.
Where, how, when?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, Lenin was in exile from 1905 to 1917. Like, how did he work with the Black Hundreds?
Yeah.
And the Black Hundreds would like shoot every peasant at sight, which is the opposite of the Bolsheviks. But whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're down at Hayden and his brought all their education.
Yeah. He covered up this. Okay. He insisted to Stolpen on the protection of these interests by the most civilized forms of class domination. Hayden and his brought all their education to the altar of the interests of the landlords, to a real Democrat and not a respectable boor. Oh, he calls them ham now.
He's calling them ham now. So it's changed. It's like pig fat and now it's ham.
Yeah.
And then the Marxists from England that did the translation decided to use, well, I think aren't they Trotskyists that did a lot of this translation?
Yeah. No, I think this is an honest typo.
Yeah. Okay.
A respectable boor from Russian salons. This might have served as an excellent subject for a journalist who wanted to show the prostitution, and he literally uses prostituирование образования в современном обществе, prostitution of the educated man in modern society. Mm-hmm. When a Democrat prats about education, I would translate this as blabbers.
Yeah.
He wants to create in the reader's mind an impression of superior knowledge, a broad outlook, and an ennobled mind and heart. For the Hayden's education is a thin veneer, a training, a coaching in gentlemanly ways of performing the meanest and dirtiest political deals.
Do you want me to read for a little bit?
No, I just wanted to translate. He doesn't use the word deals. He uses the word, he uses a German word, Geschäftstag, which is like a business deal. Okay, that's fine. And all his peaceful renovationism, all his negotiations with Stolypin after the dissolution of the First Duma were in fact carrying out the meanest and dirtiest political business, arranging how reliably and craftfully and artfully and how most solidly within and least noticeably without to defend the rights of the aristocratic Russian nobility to the blood and sweat of millions. And he does it right, krov I pot. So that actually millions of mujiks who have always and incessantly been robbed by these Haydens. Before 1861 was when they abolished slavery. During 1861, when they abolished serfdom. After 1861, after they abolished serfdom. And after 1905, when they did the Stolypin reforms, which wasn't really reforms, I guess.
Yeah.
In their time, the Nekrasov and Saltykov taught Russian society to see through the outward gloss and varnish of the feudal landlord's education and the predatory interests that lay beneath it. They taught it to hate the hypocrisy and callousness of their types. Yet the modern intellectual who imagined himself to be the guardian of the democratic heritage, who belonged to the cadet party or the cadet yes men, he calls them like voice repeaters, like literally, and teaches the people groveling servility and the delights in his impartiality as a non-party democratic, a spectacle more revolting than that offered by the feats of the Dubasov. Hayden was a man, exclaims the drawing room Democrat with enthusiasm. Hayden was humane. This sentimentalizing over Hayden's humaneness reminds us not only of Nekrasov and Saltykov, but also of Turgenev in his Hunter sketches. Here we find, that's a novel written around that time. Here we find depicted a civilized, educated landlord, a cultured man with a European polish, well versed in social graces. The landlord is treating his guests with wine and offering lots of lofty themes. Why isn't this wine being warmed? He asks his lackey.
Okay.
His lackey turns pale and does not answer. The landlord rings when the servant enters. He says without raising a voice, "About Fyodor. Make the necessary arrangements." Here you have an example of Hayden-like humaneness, or humaneness a la Hayden. Turgenev's landlord is humane too, so humane that compared with Saltichka, that's like another like character in Russian literature, who's like really mean person. For instance, that he does not go to the stables in person to see that this has been arranged for Fyodor to be flogged. He's so humane that he does not see to that the birch with which Fyodor is to be flogged has been soaked with salt water. He would never think of hitting or scolding a lackey with this landlord. He only arranges things from a distance, like an educated man he is, in a gentle, humane manner, without noise, without fuss, without making a public scene.
Yeah, it's like the slave owners here that actually hired people to do the whipping. The cracker would hire the cracker.
Yes. Hayden's humaneness was exactly the same kind. He himself does not join the Luzhenovskys and Filinovs in flogging and maltreating the peasants. He did not join the Rennenkampf and the Meller-Zamelskys in their punitive expeditions. They're like czarist general. Oh, okay, so from what I remember about the coronation, like they were czarist generals, and they just went boom, 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 and go for peasant uprisings, basically.
Yeah.
Mm.
Much like they did, like they were doing that here with the labor uprisings. They were taking out the Gatling guns at that point, So
yes. He did not join the Dubasov in the Moscow shootings. So humane that he refrained from such actions, leaving all the arrangements to these heroes of the national stable, controlling from his peaceful cultured study the political party which supported the government of the Dubasovs, whose leaders drank the health of the conqueror of the Moscow Dubasov. So basically during the Tsar's coronation, the factory owners promised workers paid days off for the coronation, but then they were like, "Psych! You're not getting paid days off." And then there was massive riots, and then like they ended up shooting the workers. So that's basically what he's talking about.
And Hayden probably was fine with that.
Yeah. Was it not indeed humane to send the Dubasovs to arrange about Fyodor instead of going to the stables himself? To the old women who ran the political department of our liberal and democratic press, this is a model of humaneness. He had a heart of gold. He wouldn't hurt a fly. A rare and happy lot. To support the Dubasovs, to enjoy the fruits of the vengeance wreaked by the Dubasovs, and not be held responsible for the Dubasovs. Mm-hmm. The drawing room Democrat considers it the height of democracy to sigh over the fact that we are not being governed by the Haydens. For it never enters the head of this drawing room simpleton that there's a natural division of labor between the Haydens and the Dubasovs, like the natural division of labor between the Newsoms, the Jenks, and the Charlie Kirks.
There's no division.
Oh, there is. I mean, it's like the good cop, bad cop thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so the liberals thing is supposed to say, yeah, I support Medicare for all in theory, but Republicans are evil and they will never vote for it. So that there are some people who actually believe that if the Democrats like own all three and have a overridable what do you call it, a veto-proof majority, that they'll get Medicare for all, but they're not getting that.
Yeah.
Listen to this. How sad that Hayden, has died now when he could have been most useful. He would have fought the extreme right, revealing the finest aspects of his soul in defending the constitutional principles with all the energy and fertility of the mind natural to him. Tavarish, number 299, Friday, June 22nd, in memory of Count Heyden, a letter from Pskov Gubernia. How sad that the educated and humane Heyden, the peaceful renovator, is not here to cloak with his constitutional phrase-mongering and the nakedness of the Third Octoberist Duma, the nakedness of the autocracy which is destroying the Duma. The aim of the democratic journalists is not to tear off the false cloak and to show up the people, their oppressors, their enemies in all their nakedness, but to regret the absence of the experienced hypocrites who adorn the rank of the Octoberists. Was ist der Philister holles Dan? Voll Frucht und Hoffnung gastot Yvonne. He actually types this in German in the Russian version too. So
yeah.
What is a Philistine? A hollow gut full of fear and hope that God will have mercy? What is the Russian liberal Democrat Philistine of cadet or near cadet camp? A hollow gut of fear and hope that the counter-revolutionary landlord will have mercy.
All right.
So we always read this when somebody horrible dies because it's always relevant.
Yeah. No, I mean, it just shows like they're demanding from the people for us to I'm so sad that this person. Oh, I don't care. That person wouldn't care. Charlie Kirk wouldn't care if I died.
If you died,
why should I care?
I mean, if you got shot, he would say your death was worth it.
Yeah. He says that of children in schools.
Yeah. So, and I have to go to Madras tomorrow. Sorry, tonight. I shouldn't be calling it my. Tell me in the comments if it's okay for me to call the city Madras, because when I was young, they used to call the city Madras, and now it's Chennai. What do you guys think?
I don't know anything about it.
Madras is kind of the British name, and Chennai is allegedly the original name, but I'm not 100% sure if Chennai was the original name.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So I'll figure that one out.
Yes.
And with that,